Aloha! In this presentation, I'm going to reveal to you what the bankers do not want you to know. 3 ways that you're being robbed right now, how to put a stop to it, and create your own tax-free cash growth warehouse. But before I go into all of that, let me give you a little of my background, just so you know who I am, how I got to this point. When I was 6 years old, I wanted to be a brain surgeon or a heart surgeon. But what I really loved to do was to draw. I would draw and make copies of beautiful things that I saw in the encyclopedias that my parents had around the house, you know, like Venus de Milo, Mona Lisa, Dene, and so forth. I tried watercolors, I got into acrylic painting and so forth, but you know, when I was in junior high school, I received a gift that changed my life. My crazy uncle Jeep, well, that isn't his real name. His real name is Orville. We called him Jeep because he drove a Jeep. I think he actually liked Jeep better than Orville. Anyway, he gave me this big, beautiful, professional twin lens reflex camera. Well, I fell in love with that thing, and I really was attracted to photography. I mean, I loved photography, especially making photographs of pretty girls. Well, by the summer of my senior year in high school, I got to work with a local newspaper photographing local sports events and working in the darkroom. And it was great. But you know, I was really wary and afraid, actually, to try to make art or photography my career. Because, you know, you've heard the story about the starving artist, right? Well, I heard that story just 1 or 2 many times growing up. And you know, starving never did appeal to me. I like to eat. So I went into sales for many years as my career. And I worked in a variety of different industries. You know, sales makes the world go round. Then, in 1993, circumstances collided, as they do from time to time. I took a deep breath, I took the plunge, and I opened my own photography business. It was a wonderful experience and journey. I didn't become materially wealthy, but I did meet my beautiful wife, and I was passionate about making beautiful portraits for people and treasured heirlooms for families. Everything was going well until the digital revolution happened. Photographers are going out of business right and left. Even the big box snapshot studios closed their doors. But I didn't believe it would affect me. I was in denial. I was kind of at the higher end of the profession, and I was doing fine until 2010. Business began to decline, and I ended up closing my studio doors, but most of my work was out on location anyway, so it didn't really matter that much. And I continued to work out of my home. Business continued to decline. And so now I'm sitting in my home office at my desk. I'm looking at my calendar, and I hadn't had a commission for a week. And I didn't have another portrait session scheduled for 2 more weeks. My bank account is nearly zero. The reality of it hit me. I can't continue to support my family this way. I have to find something else to do. It was depressing, but it was reality. I'd heard about all the internet millionaires, you know, and how you too can become an internet millionaire. Just a few clicks of the mouse and all the money will just start pouring in. So I did a little research. I found a couple of outfits that offered money-back guarantees, and I tried it out. Well, it was never just 3 or 5 or even 10 clicks of the mouse as promised. And the only money that ever went anywhere was from my pocket to the perpetrators of these lies. Well, then I thought about, how about joint venture marketing with blogs? That seemed like a legitimate thing to do. So again, I did some research. I bought a half a dozen domain names and got a half a dozen WordPress blog sites going. I got myself some really good venture partners. Amazon.com, GoDaddy, TaylorMade, Adidas Golf. Still wasn't the answer. Put my resume out online and I got recruited. I got recruited by an agency who wanted me to do recruiting for them. Well, I wasn't really excited about it, but it was something that was beneficial to people, and it had potential for making a decent income. Fast forward a year and 2 agencies later, I'm sitting in a sales meeting, and the trainer mentions the idea, hey, you know, you can use a contract as your own personal bank. Well, this idea fascinated me, so I did some additional research, and I stumbled on a book titled Becoming Your Own Banker, The Infinite Banking Concept by R. Nelson Nash. I devoured that book and everything else I could get my hands on pertaining to infinite banking concept. Here at last is something I am again passionate about. It's a wonderful advantage for people, and yet it's still largely unknown. So at the beginning of this presentation, I told you that I was going to reveal what the bankers don't want you to know. The 3 ways that you're being robbed right now, how to put a stop to it and create your own personal, tax-free cash growth warehouse. So let's get into it. All right.